Okay, guys, I'm going to work through practice 46 with you. For the most part, you should have your notes open. And even though I'm going to be showing work on this document, I'm only going to do that because it's convenient for the purposes of the video. But I would like for you to go ahead and show your work on lined paper, because then you will have more room. All right, so this is practice 46, solving a multi-step problem. These are pretty tough, so I'm going to work through them with you. If you would like to try working the problem yourself first, and then check back to see if you got it right, that would be great for those of you who think you can handle it. So here is question number 1. During his vacation, Peter uses 2 rolls of film with 24 pictures each and 3 rolls with 36 pictures each. How many pictures does Peter take during his vacation? Now, we don't use rolls of film anymore, but we used to do that, and you'd have to buy them. And sometimes they'd have 24 pictures, and sometimes they'd have 36. So if you have 2 rolls of film that each have 24 pictures on them, then that would be 2 times 24 equals 48 pictures from those 2 rolls of film. And then you have 3 rolls of film with 36 pictures each. So that would be 3 times 36. You are allowed to use your calculator for this page. The difficult part is figuring out what to do, not so much the computation. So I want you to spend your time focusing on figuring out what to do. And then you can let your calculator do some of the work for you. Your calculator will tell you that 3 times 36 is 108. And then I'm hoping you can figure out what to do with those 2 numbers, which would be to add them together. So when you add them together, you will get 16, carry the 1. Well, you could have used your calculator for that. 156, and then we always want to label our answer correctly. 156 pictures. And if you can't figure out what the word is supposed to be, a lot of times it'll say how many, and then that word will be after it. That doesn't happen every time, but a lot of times it does. And then we box our answers. Now that one did fit pretty well in the space, but some of these aren't going to fit that well. So I would like you to show your work on the lined paper. All right, let's go ahead and look at question number 2. Peter and John both have a hamburger and a milkshake for lunch. In addition, John orders a salad for $1.15. Good for John, he got the salad. Their total bill was $14.65. What is Peter's share of the bill? Now, probably you're going to need to look at that twice. Peter and John both have a hamburger and a milkshake for lunch. In addition, John orders a salad for $1.15. Their total bill is $14.65. What is Peter's share of the bill? So in this case, I'd like to think of this maybe as working backwards, that we're going to take the bill, $14.65, and what do you think we should subtract from that? We're going to subtract that extra salad that got ordered, because Peter should not have to pay for that at all. So that salad cost $1.15. So if you take the whole bill and subtract $1.15, then you'll get $13.50. Well, so once we get rid of the salad, they both ordered the same thing, okay? They both had a hamburger and a milkshake. So they should really split this $13.50 equally. So that means take the $13.50 and do what with it? Well, let's divide it by 2. And then that will equal $6.75. Now let's check back with what the question was actually asking. What is Peter's share of the bill? Okay, so Peter's the one that did not order the salad. So Peter's going to pay $6.75, and that's what John's going to pay too, but plus he's going to have to pay the $1.15 too. So Peter's share is the $6.75. Again, if you think you can handle some of these questions yourself, go ahead and do it yourself and then check back and see what answers we came up with. Number 3. Let's see what John is up to now. John's mystery book is 213 pages long. His biography has 65 fewer pages than his mystery. And his science fiction book has 115 more pages than the biography. How many pages are in John's 3 books? All right, there's a lot of stuff in that. It's kind of complicated, but we do have 3 books, and it's how many pages are in John's 3 books. And they're asking for a total there. So 3 books, let's at least list out what kind of books. Okay, so we've got mystery, biography, and science fiction. So let's start with mystery. I'm just trying to give myself as much room as possible here. I'm going to abbreviate that. Mystery, biography, and science fiction. So let's see if we can figure out how many pages are in each one. Okay, John's mystery book is 213 pages long. Well, that's pretty straightforward, 213 pages. I'm going to have to add these 3 books up, and the other 2 are going to be more complicated. So I'm going to put the 213 over here, so I'm ready to add it. Okay, so we took care of that. And then the biography has 65 fewer pages than the mystery. 65 fewer pages than the mystery. So the mystery was 213, and 65 fewer would be minus 65. So that means that the biography has 148 pages. Then we have to deal with the sci-fi book. Let's see, his science fiction book has 115 more pages than the biography. So let's start with the biography, 148. It's 115 more than, so plus 115. And again, you're allowed to use your calculator for the actual computation. So that book is going to come out to 263 pages. And they want to know, I wish they had used the word total. How many pages are in John's 3 books? They're asking for a total here, but they could have made that a little clearer. Okay, so if they want the total there, then you're going to have to add those 3 up, and you may use your calculator for that, which would be 624. And the word for that would be right here. See again how it says how many and then pages. And of course, we'll put a box around our answer. All righty, let's go ahead and take a look at number 4. The Stewarts go hiking for 7 days. they hike a total of 36 miles. On the first 3 days, they hike 3, 4, and 5 miles. They hike an equal number of miles on each of the remaining days. How far do they hike on the 7th day? I think you better read that one again. That's the key to a lot of them, is reading it and wrapping your brain around it. The Stewarts go hiking for 7 days. I'm wondering if maybe I should make a list of the 7 days. Um, 7 days, and they hike a total of 36 miles. So if I were to add them all up, it'd be 36 miles. On the first 3 days, they hike 3, 4, and 5 miles. All right, well, I can keep track of that. 3 for day 1, 4 for day 2, and 5 for day 3. Then it says they hike an equal number of miles on each of the remaining days. Okay, so I'd kind of like to know, how much does this all add up to? So 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 3 is 12. And it said 36 all total. And we've got 12 taken care of here. So I'd like to know the total, what's left. So that looks like 36 minus 12 to me. You see how this isn't fitting on my lines nicely? That's one reason to use your notebook paper. Okay, so there are 24 miles left. What am I going to do with that? It's important that it says they hike an equal number of miles on each of the remaining days. Well, how many days have we got left here? 1, 2, 3, 4 days to use up 24 miles. So that looks like 24 divided by 4 to me, which would give me 6 miles a day. So let's see what happens with that. 6, 6, 6, and 6. Does that all add up to 36? Yes, it does. And I think it answers all of the, it meets all the requirements of the story in our problem there. But what's the actual question? How far do they hike on the 7th day? Well, that's all we need to know, just the 7th day. So our answer is going to be 6 miles. And you'll want to put a box around that. And your work could look a little bit different from this, as long as it's the same basic idea. Okay, number 5. The Stewarts, again, they're having a good time hiking and renting canoes. Okay, so the Stewarts rent a canoe for 2 days at $14 a day. They also rent a paddle boat for 3 days. The total cost for the rentals is $52. How much does it cost to rent a paddle boat for 1 day? And let's look at it again. The Stewarts rent a canoe for 2 days at $14 a day. They also rent a paddle boat for 3 days. The total cost for the rentals is $52. How much does it cost to rent a paddle boat for 1 day? The algebra teacher in me wants to do this. I want to say 2 times 14, that's for the canoe, plus 3 times some number equals 52. You see where I got that? Their total cost is $52, and that was the combination of 2 days of a $14 canoe plus 3 days for this paddle boat, and we don't know how much it costs each day. So here's a way without algebra that we can go about solving this. The 2 times the 14, well, that equals $28 for the canoe. Well, so let's take that off of our total price. $52 we're paying all total, minus 28 for the canoe. That leaves us with 24 for the paddle boat. Now, they want to know how much does it cost to rent a paddle boat for 1 day. This represents 3 days worth of renting the paddle boat. So that means we're going to have to do 24 divided by 3 equals $8 for 1 day. $8. It's always a good idea to go back and see if your answer makes sense. So 2 times 14 is 28, and 3 times this 8 is 24. And if you add up 28 and 24, you do get the $52. But they wanted to know how much to rent the paddle boat for 1 day. Okay, I realize that's quite a lot of thinking involved in there. Now we've done 5 of the 8 problems. So your job is to go ahead and make your best attempt at doing number 6, 7, and 8 by yourself. I expect you to turn in a photo of your work paper for all 8 problems, a photo of your work paper for all 8 problems.